Welcome back friends, welcome back in another video lecture from microbiology with Shagnik. In this video lecture we are going to continue our discussion regarding ELISA. Okay, so in our previous video we have talked about direct ELISA. So in this video we are going to talk about indirect ELISA. Okay, so indirect ELISA is simply a modification of direct ELISA. Okay, that is required because as I have told you in my previous video that in case of direct ELISA we face a problem in case of complex mixture where it contains multiple antigen of interest. Okay, so multiple antigen, so in the mixture of those antigen it becomes very difficult to find out the antigen of interest, and the intensity of the result is very low because antigen of interest is in low abundance. Okay, so for solving the problem, okay, we are going to now talk about indirect ELISA. Okay, so let's talk about indirect ELISA in details. Okay, so in case of indirect ELISA, let's focus on the picture first. Okay, so first of all we are going to add our sample containing the antigen of interest, then sample of antigen of interest will bind over here. Okay, then we will add primary antibody. These things are primary antibody. Okay, and un now it is, I think it is clear. Now, unlike direct antibody, the primary antibody is not enzyme linked. Okay, then we will add a secondary antibody after washing, so that all the unbound primary antibody is removed. We will add a secondary antibody which is enzyme linked. Okay, then we will again wash so that the free or unbound secondary antibody is washed away. Then we will add a colorless substrate, and in presence of enzyme it will be converted into colored product that can be measured by specialized spectrophotometric plate reader. Okay, that can measure the absorbance of all of the light that is coming from. Okay, so this is all about indirect ELISA. So in this video the primary antibody is serving as a connection between the enzyme link secondary antibody and antigen of interest. Okay, and that thing is simply solves the problem of that we have face with that we are facing in case of direct ELISA, because in case of direct ELISA the primary antibodies along with the enzyme has reduced affinity towards antigen. I have told you in my previous video, remember it, that in case of indirect ELISA the problem that we are facing in case of direct ELISA, that the enzyme linked antibody has a lower affinity towards our antigen of interest is resolved, as here we use a extra antibody, that is secondary antibody. So this secondary antibody intensify the result. Okay, so that is all about the indirect ELISA. And one most interesting example of real life example of the use of ELISA is the indirect ELISA. Sorry, it will be indirect ELISA. Indirect ELISA is used to detect the presence of antibodies against HIV. Okay, so that is all for today. So today we have talked about indirect ELISA. So in our next video I am going to talk about a most and another important type of ELISA technique, that is sandwich ELISA technique. Okay, so indirect ELISA simply increases the sensitivity of the test. Okay, so the two problems that we are facing in case of direct ELISA, one is sensitivity and specificity. Okay, so one problem is solved, sensitivity, in via indirect ELISA, or we can say via using enzyme linked secondary antibody. And in our next video where we are going to talk about sandwich ELISA, we will solve the problem regarding specificity. Okay, and then we are going to talk about another modified process, that is competitive ELISA. Okay, so I hope you are enjoying this series and learned also. So goodbye.